This Family Life News podcast is made possible by the support of listeners like you.
It's the Noon Report from Family Life, bringing a Christian worldview to what's happening in New York, Pennsylvania, across the country, and around the world. Weather with Kevin Williams, plus special features and reports with the Family Life News team. Now, here's what's happening.
Wind warnings. Good afternoon. Welcome to the broadcast. Yeah, it's a two hands on the steering wheel. Hold on to your hats. Pin down those Christmas decorations. Sort of night coming up. Those winds could gust to 60 miles per hour at times after sunset. Downwind of the Great Lakes. Those of you in the lake belts could see destructive winds. Power crews are at the ready, bracing for localized outages. Everybody could see heavy downpours tonight. The wet will turn white through the day tomorrow as the rain flips over to light snow. President Trump addressed the nation from the Oval Office last night and vowed to work to drive down prices while building up people's paychecks. He also promised Christmas bonuses for members of the military.
The checks are already on the way.
Correspondent Weijia Jiang.
President Trump praised the military, announcing what he calls warrior dividend payments. End of the year bonuses worth $1,776 for nearly 1.5 million service members.
Those checks for $1,776 are in honor of America's 250th birthday coming up next year. 1776, of course, was the year America was born. Russia and Ukraine leaders are holding peace talks this weekend in Miami with the hopes of ending the almost 4-year-old war between Moscow and Kyiv. U.S. envoy Steve Witkoff and the president's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, will be part of those talks. Israel has just green-lighted an historic gas deal with Egypt.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said the gas deal with Cairo was worth almost $35 billion. The gas will be delivered to Egypt over the next 15 years by the U.S. gas company Chevron, which is a key owner of the gas fields off Israel's coast in the Mediterranean Sea.
Correspondent Linda Gradstein in Jerusalem today. The Texas Heartbeat Act is paying dividends. That law, which bans abortions after a fetal heartbeat is detected, has saved thousands of unborn babies' lives since it was enacted in 2021.
This study just confirms that Texas is on the right track.
John Ciego with Texas Right to Life.
And has been on the right track for the last 4 years to save more lives and create a culture of life.
According to the American Medical Association, abortions in Texas have dropped more than 18% since that law was enacted. On Capitol Hill, House Republicans have passed a bill that outlaws gender transition treatment for minors. The legislation criminalizes so-called gender-affirming care, including sex change operations and hormone replacement therapy for kids. Doctors who defy the ban could face 10 years in prison. The legislation is unlikely to go anywhere, however, in the U.S. Senate. The cost of youth sports was the focus of a House hearing this week. On average, moms and dads will fork over more than $1,000 per child per year on youth sports.
What's happened is we've created these travel teams, which used to only exist in high school. They pushed down to middle school, and now they go all the way down to second grade. And once we create these travel teams, which are often private, the cost goes from a couple $100 a year to several $1,000s a year. And it starts structurally pushing aside a lot of kids who can't afford it. We've allowed the travel team environment to sort of take over.
That's Tom Ferry with the Aspen Institute. He says youth sports is a $40 billion a year industry.
We all understand the value proposition that kids who play sports are more likely to do better in life, right? A lot of kumbaya around that. A lot of pressure on families, the cost pressures, but also the time pressures. Our research shows that the average family spends 3 hours and 20 minutes a day on their kids' youth sports.
70% of kids, by the way, drop out of organized sports by the time they reach 9th grade. Speaking of sports, Week 16 of the NFL season will feature a battle of two football titans Titans tonight. Correspondent Joe Morgan.
The NFC West and the top seed in the conference are on the line tonight in Seattle. The 11-3 Rams make a trip to the Pacific Northwest to take on the 11-3 Seahawks on Thursday Night Football, with kickoff scheduled for 8:15 Eastern. With just 3 weeks remaining in the regular season, the winner of tonight's contest will be in the driver's seat for the number 1 seed in the NFC playoffs. The two teams met for the first time in November, with the Rams eking out a 21-19 victory in Los Angeles, thanks to 4 interceptions by Seattle quarterback Sam Darnold.
That's reporter Joe Morgan. We'll have more sports with Randy on the way. Also ahead on the noon report, Hochul puts guardrails on assisted suicide. Abortion fight comes to a head in Pennsylvania, and holiday hazards in the home.
Good afternoon. I'm Kevin Williams, calling for the winds of change these next 24 hours. A taste of early spring today, back to winter tomorrow. Forecast details are up in 10.
All right, Kevin, busy guy at the Weather Center. Thank you. Let's check the stories making news across New York and Pennsylvania. The Pennsylvania House has advanced abortion expansion legislation, but the measure's dead on arrival in the Senate by a 1-vote margin yesterday. The House approved a bill that enshrines abortion rights in the state constitution. That means abortion could be legal through all 9 months of pregnancy, and taxpayers would be forced to foot the bill, as they say. Republican Representative Kathy Rapp says abortion does not solve problems, it creates them. The abortion expansion effort is going nowhere, as we said, in the state Senate. Chris Dush, chairman of the Senate Government Affairs Committee, is promising to kill the bill upon its arrival. We're learning more today about how New York's new physician-assisted suicide law will work. Governor Hochul says she will sign the controversial bill after watching her own mother die from Lou Gehrig's disease.
After weeks of negotiating with the legislature, we are now going to be making medical aid in dying available to New Yorkers going forward.
Hochul says end-of-life issues are deeply personal, and those in pain from incurable diseases should not be made to suffer needlessly.
The founding fathers 250 years ago envisioned a more limited government, focusing on individual rights. And it is that confluence of thought that brought me to where I am today.
6 months from now, the terminally ill with less than 6 months to live in New York will be allowed to legally kill themselves. Jack Arpey with Spectrum News says the governor agreed to sign this bill after lawmakers agreed to some guardrails.
Despite the governor's additional guardrails and religious opt-out, her decision has generated intense criticism from the Catholic community. Cardinal Timothy Dolan and the bishops of New York State releasing a joint statement saying in part, quote, "This new law signals our government's abandonment of its most vulnerable citizens, telling people who are sick or disabled that suicide in their case is not only acceptable but is encouraged by our elected leaders."
Disability rights activist Lindsay Miller says assisted suicide is a slippery slope for sure.
There's a lot of disabilities out there that many perceive as being kind of a death sentence, and I think we all have this experience when physicians give a diagnosis, and in terms of a life expectancy, it's really their best guess. And we've seen many people live beyond what their expectations of the physician was.
The Medical Aid in Dying Act includes a ban on coerced suicide. No religiously affiliated healthcare organizations can be forced to offer it either. There's a mandatory 5-day waiting period, and an oral request by the patient must be recorded. Also, the patient must be examined by a psychologist or a psychiatrist. A residency requirement means out-of-staters are not eligible for assisted suicide in New York. Again, the governor plans to sign the bill next year. Legislation in the works in Pennsylvania would create a statewide warning system to locate children with autism. Family Life's Brian Query.
State Representative Robert Ledbetter announced the formal introduction of a bill to create a purple alert system. It would quickly notify police and community members when a child with autism or other cognitive issues is missing. His bill is called Aiden's Law, named for a young boy in Columbia County who disappeared earlier this year and drowned in the Susquehanna River. Ledbetter said a purple alert system would fill a gap in Pennsylvania. The system would mirror others like Amber Alerts for missing children in danger and Silver Alerts for missing seniors. Brian Query, Family Life News.
Thank you, Brian. Pennsylvania's Attorney General Dave Sunday wants Meta to crack down on misleading AI-fueled weight loss ads. The AG alleges the social media giant is permitting companies to advertise weight loss products with deceptive AI-generated before and after photos. Sunday wants Facebook's parent company to restrict ads to only drugs that are FDA approved. New York Attorney General Tish James is suing the Trump administration for freezing billions of dollars in funding for electric vehicle charging stations. The suit accuses the federal government of illegally blocking money that Congress approved several years ago for EV projects at state parks and college campuses all over New York. Poison control experts caution the holiday season presents hidden risks in the home. Christmas decorations like mistletoe, Yule berries, holly berries, and amaryllis bulbs are all toxic and can be dangerous if ingested by small children.
And it's very important we keep vigilant to make sure that we're keeping those out of the hands of kids.
William Eggleston with Upstate Poison Center says it's also important to keep adult drinks away from kids.
A lot of alcoholic beverages, particularly seltzers, can look a lot like non-alcoholic beverages. You might forget, leave it out at the table in reach of a kid. Small amount of alcohol can be dangerous in a kid.
Eggleston points out that Christmas gifts containing small batteries or magnets also pose choking hazards to children in the home around the holidays. A boil water order remains in effect in Fredonia, New York. That water emergency also includes the town of Pomfret. Residents are urged to boil their water due to the lack of disinfection. Water used for cooking and drinking should be boiled. The water used for laundry or to bathe in is okay not to boil so long as you don't consume it. America's evolving entertainment customs has claimed another casualty. Another movie theater is going under in Western New York.
The AMC Market Arcade 8 Theater in Buffalo will shut down at the end of the day on December 31st. AMC opened in August of 2018 after a multi-million-dollar investment by the Benchmark Group, who developed the space specifically for the movie chain. An AMC spokesperson cited declining sales and a slow recovery post-COVID-19 pandemic as reasons for closing the theater, and also reports that AMC routinely reviews the theaters and makes decisions on a theater-by-theater basis. AMC Maple Ridge 8 in Amherst remains open. Dee Haley, Family Life News.
Thank you, Dee. Sports next. It's the 2-minute drill on the Family Life Noon Report.
Good afternoon, I'm Randy Snavely. Bob, the quarterback shuffle is continuing in the National Football League. Last week, the Jets inserted undrafted rookie Brady Cook as their starting quarterback, and they are sticking with him this week, by the way. This week, it is the Miami Dolphins who are making the switcheroo. Tua Tagovailoa will sit the bench, and rookie Quinn Ewers will start against the Bengals on Sunday. On to the NBA. Only 2 games played. Josh Giddey had his 6th triple-double of the season, 11 assists, 11 boards, and 23 points. And Kobe White scored 25 as the Bulls took down the Cavs 127-111. Jaren Jackson Jr. had 28 points and 12 boards, and he led the Grizzlies over the T-Wolves 116-110. To hockey, Florida edged LA 3-2. The Mammoth took out the Red Wings 4-1. The Blues shut out the Jets 1-0. Nashville lost to Carolina 4-1. And in a shootout, the Devils came out on top of Vegas 2-1. To college basketball, here's the name you're going to be hearing more of as the season goes on. Olivier Rioux. He is the tallest teenager in the world, and he happens to play center for the 23rd-ranked Florida Gators. Last night, he scored his first collegiate bucket, a dunk by the 7'9" center, and he really didn't even have to jump. Rio's the tallest player to ever play college basketball. His stamina isn't where it should be at this point, so when he plays, it's only for a few minutes at a time. But he certainly is tough to guard, and he really is a big attraction. That is a look at sports.
Yes, he is indeed. Have had a chance to watch that kid play something else there at the University of Florida. Thank you, Randy. And still to come on the Noon Report, Warrior Dividends for the Troops, Prison Fellowships, Angel Tree Ministry, and the new movie about Melania Trump.
Welcome to Breakpoint, a daily look at an ever-changing culture through the lens of unchanging truth. For the Colson Center, I'm John Stonestreet. Well, decades before our contemporary culture wars and the complaints about its commercialization, T.S. Eliot described various perspectives about Christmas in a poem called The Cultivation of Christmas Trees. It is a poem worthy of Advent reflection. And I quote, "There are several attitudes towards Christmas, some of which we may disregard. The social, the torpid, the patently commercial, the rowdy, the pubs being open till midnight, and the childish, which is not that of the child for whom the candle is a star, and the gilded angel spreading its wings at the summit of the tree is not only a decoration, but an angel. The child wonders at the Christmas tree. Let him continue in the spirit of wonder at the feast as an event not accepted as a pretext, so that the glittering rapture, the amazement of the first remembered Christmas tree, so that the surprises, delight, and new possessions, each one with its peculiar and exciting smell, the expectation of the goose or turkey, and the expected awe on its appearance, so that the reverence and the gaiety may not be forgotten in later experience, in the bored habituation, the fatigue, the tedium, the awareness of death, the consciousness of failure, or in the piety of the convert, which may be tainted with a self-conceit, displeasing to God and disrespectful to children. And here I remember also with gratitude St. Lucy, her carol, and her crown of fire, so that before the end, the 80th Christmas, by 80th meaning whichever is last, the accumulated memories of annual emotion may be concentrated into a great joy, which shall also be a great fear, as on the occasion when fear came upon every soul, because the beginning shall remind us of the end, and the first coming of the second coming." End quote. Yes, that poem is one that you will have to read again, but it identified two perspectives that Christians should adopt about Christmas. The first, wonder, like that of a child arrested before a Christmas tree. Wonder is a rich human activity in which we marvel at what we do not yet know. As Eliot captures in his line, the child wonders at the Christmas tree, let him continue in the spirit of wonder. But how often, both in education or even by the church, is a child's beautiful ability to wonder at the truth of Christmas dismissed or squashed? And how quickly adults have been taught to gloss over the incredible miracle of Emmanuel, God coming to dwell with us, a reality that left shepherds and wise men both marveling in wonder. Eliot also recommends another aspect of childlikeness, that of waiting in expectation with the goal of the day being fulfilled. While adults wrestle with the challenges of Christmas preparation, Eliot reminded his readers that the accumulated memories of annual emotion may be concentrated into great joy. Of course, as C.S. Lewis noted in an epigraph to the abolition of man, there's also a dark side to Christmas. Eliot also emphasizes the same point, reminding readers of the fear in the Christmas story. In Mary's encounter with Gabriel, the shepherds quaking at the angels, and Joseph's life-altering dream, or Herod's order to slaughter all male infants. Only Christ can bring lasting peace on earth and goodwill toward men. He's the one who called for childlike faith. And a childlike wonder of Christmas offers a powerful posture for all of us. As Eliot put it, that Christ's first coming should fill us with hope for his second, when every knee will bow and every tongue confess that Jesus Christ is Lord. For the Colson Center, I'm John Stonestreet with Breakpoint.
All right, John, thank you very much. Let's head outside next to very busy Kevin Williams.
Here is your Family Life weather forecast for this afternoon. Breezy, if not windy. Some sunshine, mild. High temps, 40s and low 50s. Tonight, cloudy, windy with rain arriving. Could be some rumbles of thunder overnight. Temperatures will rise in many cases overnight and then fall toward morning. Then for tomorrow, windy turning sharply colder. Morning rain followed by snow and snow flurries. Temperatures start today in the 30s and 40s to near 50 in spots, then drop through the day. And then on Saturday, mostly cloudy with high temps in the 30s to near 40.
All right, thank you, Kevin. This is the Noon Report. I'm your host, Bob Price. Glad you're with us today. A lot to get to Thursday, December 18th. In a primetime speech to the nation last night, President Trump promised Christmas bonuses to nearly 1.5 million American service members.
If you enlisted in the U.S. military in recent weeks or even decades earlier, the check's in the mail. President Trump announcing a warrior dividend for our forces. The dollar amount has special meaning. 1776 in honor of the country's 250th birthday.
Correspondent Lucas Tomlinson at the White House. The president raising some eyebrows by unveiling new plaques of previous presidents at the White House.
Reporters got our first glimpse yesterday at the president's latest White House renovation along what's been dubbed the Presidential Walk of Fame. Beneath the photo of each president, a plaque was installed with a Trumpian spin on explaining that president's accomplishments or history. The plaques, for example, mock President Biden, who's represented by a picture of an auto pen rather than a headshot, reading in part, "Sleepy Joe Biden was by far the worst president in American history." The President Clinton's plaque notes that his wife Hillary Clinton later lost an election to Donald Trump, and Ronald Reagan's plaque claims that the 40th president was a fan of Trump long before the latter ran for office. The White House says the president wrote many of these plaques himself.
NBC's Garrett Hake reporting. Governor Hochul says she'll sign that bill, that right to die bill, sometime in January. It'll make New York the 13th state to permit physician-assisted suicide.
The law allows New Yorkers with incurable illnesses and less than 6 months to live to request medication to end their own lives. 3 doctors have to sign off on it, and Hochul-led lawmakers put in additional guardrails that include a mental health evaluation, video of the patient requesting to die, and a 5-day waiting period.
It must be a well-informed decision.
The governor, who's Catholic, admits dealing with a lot of religious conflict over signing the bill.
It's not about me. It's about 20 million New Yorkers.
12 states plus Washington, D.C. have similar measures. I'm Sarah Lee Kessler.
Legislation to ban gender transition treatment for minors has advanced through the U.S. House. Here's reporter Rory O'Neill.
The legislation criminalizes gender transition surgery or supplying hormones to minors and would make those who provide gender transition treatments subject to up to 10 years in prison. The bill passed the House mostly along party lines, with Democrats saying the legislation tramples on parental rights and allows politicians to make deeply personal decisions for families. The bill may not have enough support in the Senate to get past a filibuster. I'm Rory O'Neill.
Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton is making a tip line available for the public to report violations of that state's bathroom bill. Here's reporter Scott Carr.
Texas Senate Bill 8 requires people to use only public restrooms and similar facilities that are meant for their biological sex. If someone uses the wrong bathroom, the state punishes the institution, not the individual, with fines. People who encounter somebody in the wrong restroom can sue the institution involved. The law empowers Paxton's office to enforce the law only after complaints are filed with an accused agency. I'm Scott Carr.
It's not even Christmas, and already the Big Apple's getting ready for a big party come December 31st. Fox's Tanya J. Powers.
2026 isn't here just yet, but New York City is getting ready for New Year's Eve and the annual ball drop. The numbers that will make 2026 official will be on display in Times Square through Monday on the ground where people can get an up-close look at them. The 2025 numerals currently sitting atop Times Square are 7 feet tall. New Year's Eve celebrations in Times Square date back to 1904, but the first ball made its debut in 1907, complete with 125-watt light bulbs. It weighed 700 pounds. For contrast, the current ball has more than 5,200 crystals and LED lights, measures 12.5 feet in diameter, and weighs more than 12,000 pounds.
That's Tanya J. Powers in Times Square today. And you're listening to the Noon Report for a Thursday on Family Life.
This is Faith Under Fire. We take you straight to the front lines of religious battlegrounds. I'm news anchor Sarah Harnish, and with me today, Prison Fellowships, Jermaine Wilson. We're talking Angel Tree. You spent 7 years behind bars, had your criminal record expunged, and then later became the first full-time mayor of Leavenworth, Kansas. Father of 5, husband and minister. Wow, what a redemption story. Tell me what happened.
Growing up, I was exposed to drug crimes and violence at an early age, and I didn't understand my purpose. I was searching for love in all the wrong places, and I tried to find my identity through material things and throughout the world, which led to a long, dark path that ended up in destruction and in incarceration. And it took me going to prison to discover my purpose because I just wanted to be loved. And everything that I had tried to experience in my life never fulfilled me, never satisfied me through drugs, through incarceration, through gang lifestyle. But it wasn't until I surrendered and gave my life to the Lord, that's when I was fulfilled and God satisfied me. And I found my identity through Christ Jesus.
What was it that ended up landing you in prison?
Possession of narcotics, became addicted to drugs, and I ended up selling drugs to supply my habit. I was just lost, and I was doing everything else that everybody else was doing around me. I wasn't strong enough to pull back and start doing those positive things. I began to settle for those things that caused me to suffer. I was trying to find myself through the wrong ways and doing the wrong things.
What's it like being inside a prison cell?
Well, it was dark. It was lonely. It was painful. I was locked down 23 hours a day. I just had so much time to think, and I just really started to think, how did I get here? And I remember looking in the mirror one day, and the person that was looking back at me, I didn't even recognize who that person was. And that's when I knew I had to change because I was so lost. My dad had been to prison. My siblings were in prison, and I was in prison. And I asked myself this question, is this the life that I want for my son to experience? I said no. I knew if I wanted something different, I had to become different. And that's when I joined Prison Fellowship.
In 2020, you became the first formerly incarcerated person to serve on the Kansas Sentencing Committee. And as a mayor, you're in charge of the police. I mean, this is a real-life Joseph story. It's crazy. How did the shift happen inside of you?
Well, the shift first started when I was in prison. When I joined the Prison Fellowship Academy, the program equipped me with the tools that I needed to become a good citizen. And I was able to discover that no life is beyond God's reach. God has a plan and a purpose for my life. And I learned the importance of a healthy community that's going to support you, hold you accountable, and also be able to push you forward. I wanted to be the change that my community needed. And so I learned how to become a better person and a leader while in Prison Fellowship Academy program. And that transferred out once I got out of prison.
Many at this time of year cannot shake that failure feeling. What would you say to them?
God has a plan and a purpose for each one of our lives. We all fall short. We all make mistakes. Learn from your mistakes. Your past is a place to learn from, not live in.
Take me inside the cell. How does Prison Fellowship operate over Christmas for those that are behind bars? And what did it mean to you to have them there?
So Prison Fellowship Angel Tree program equips churches to serve incarcerated parents by providing a pathway for strengthening and restoring their relationships with their children and families. And so I was able to sign up my son to receive a gift on my behalf. Although I was in prison, not able to be physically present in my son's life, God used the church to be his hands and feet. And through God's presence, the church was able to present a gift on my behalf. And it gave me hope as a father, knowing that I still have a purpose. I still have an opportunity to let my son know that I love him, I miss him, and I'm always thinking about him. And the church was able to present that gift to my son on my behalf. Prison Fellowship Angel Tree provides that opportunity.
2.7 million children in the United States have an incarcerated parent. This is a very hard time of year for them. Your children signed up for Prison Fellowship's Angel Tree program. You just mentioned that while you were incarcerated. Tell me what it was like for them to get a gift.
My son, he's actually able to travel with me and share the story. I remember he was just sharing his experience when he received a gift during Christmas time. He was thankful and very grateful to know Dad didn't forget about him. Although Dad wasn't physically there, through that gift, he was able to feel a connection with me, and he's just always thankful knowing that I did not forget about him.
How can we take part in Angel Tree?
God tells us in his word to continue to remember those that are in prison. And it is an opportunity to be able to be the hands and feet of Jesus, to serve and meet the needs of the children who has a parent that's incarcerated. And so when God says, remember those that are in prison, the best way to remember is to serve, because remembrance without action is incomplete. We have an opportunity to serve children with an incarcerated parents by signing up and participating in Prison Fellowship Angel Tree program. There is currently 55,000 children that still need to be served this upcoming Christmas time. You can help make a difference by presenting a gift on behalf of the incarcerated parents, but most of all, being the hands and feet of Jesus and presenting the gospel to those that need it the most. Don't allow your past mistakes to define who you are. The world would define you by your past, but God redefines you by his purpose. You are not a mistake. You are not a failure. God created you on purpose, for a purpose. Hold on to God, because God is the key to hope. If you want to experience freedom from your past, accept Jesus Christ into your life today, and you will be transformed and healed.
Learn more at prisonfellowship.org.
The name of the program, Faith Under Fire, comes your way every Thursday during the Noon Report or online anytime. You can catch it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or our website, familylife.org.
Good afternoon. Here is your Family Life regional weather forecast. We're keeping our eyes on a potent storm system near Lake Superior and a trailing cold front that's going to produce wind and changing weather conditions across our region as we revert from early spring today back to winter tomorrow. For this afternoon, breezy if not windy, some sunshine mild, high temps 40s and low 50s. Tonight, cloudy, windy with rain arriving. Could be some rumbles of thunder overnight. Temperatures will rise in many cases overnight and then fall toward morning. Then for tomorrow, windy turning sharply colder, morning rain followed by snow and snow flurries. Temperatures start the day in the 30s and 40s to near 50 in spots, then drop through the day. And then on Saturday, mostly cloudy with high temps in the 30s to near 40.
All right, thank you, Kevin. Finally at noon, she's a woman that spends a lot of the time behind the scenes, but she's about to get a starring role. The first trailer for the new documentary on First Lady Melania Trump is now out.
Hi, Mr. President. Congratulations.
Did you watch it?
I did not. Yeah, I will see it on the news.
The film follows Melania in the 20 days leading up to President Trump's second inauguration. Melania is directed by Brett Ratner, who has helmed movies like the Rush Hour series and X-Men 3. Amazon MGM Studios paid $40 million for the rights to the documentary. Melania will hit theaters on January the 30th. I'm Mark Mayfield.
All right, thank you very much, Mark. And just like that, we're out of time. That's our world, the world we live in. Thursday, December 18th. I'm Bob Price. Family Life News.
You've been listening to the Noon Report, heard weekdays on Family Life. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening to this Family Life News podcast. If you've been encouraged by what you've heard, please share it with others and click the subscribe button to automatically receive future episodes. Family Life is a listener-supported ministry. Podcasts like this are made possible by your financial partnership. Find out more at familylife.org.